Shalom. First of all, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, B'Shem Chakodash. And of course, double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who well. Peace and salutation to all sincere Achim that are there, of course, risking their lives and the freedom to bring out this truth. And of course, those that are diligently seeking the face of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai in all truth and sincerity. Shemiyah Mafpa, my name is Mafpa from the Great Millstone Plaintables Camp, located here in the city of Philadelphia, coming again with another lesson of the Chakodash, which is the Holy Spirit, Ma'amath of truth, in which we have this current subject, which is protest, and that is what we will be analyzing today, which I'm going to go into it on etymology and just start off. Protest, we have it, of course, a solemn declaration declared publicly. You got it there, that of course from the old French protest, from protester, directly from the Latin protestere, declare publicly, testify, protest, forth before, hence in front of, or before, meaning a statement of disapproval. And you have it where there's a serious assembly of people whom are in protest against many of the different injustices that are done in the world due to the wicked ruling, who is of course Esau Edom, which we know is the so-called white man. Okay, they are actually the wicked. Those elite which rule the earth will go back to Esau Edom. They are the wicked, which the Bible speaks of in the book of Job, chapter 9 and 24, which it says the earth is given unto the hand of the wicked. He covers the faces of the judges thereof. You know, if not, who is he? Roughly paraphrasing. You have it where the people are in a completely angered state, in which they are very upset with the various issues which comes with living life under a wicked ruler, a tyrant, which is Esau Edom. So we have these different protests, which there's many of them that are occurring at this current time. Just to note, when I go to this on the Google, particularly I believe this was posted in our group chat. It says Iraq protests Iran, and you have it here. I'm just going to click it. 3 hours ago it says here, and this is off of Fox News. We got Al Jazeera, and then I'm going to just pick the Fox News one, which it says Iraq protests descend into bloodshed as activists say Iran making them strangers in our own country. So you have it where, of course, when we read into it, it says that a small window of calm settled in the Baghdad streets on Sunday following 5 days of violent protests. But at dusk, the mayhem ricocheted once again through the Iraq capital and southern cities with a clear message from civilians: cut the corruption and provide essential services and get Iran and its proxy out of the government. So you have these protests, which it says protests are being burnt with hot mayim, or mayim chum, which is water hot, tear gas, and by live fire. We are poor people. And the Iranian back, which Iranian go back to the Persians, which are Elam or Ayalam in the Hebrew, which means young. It says that Iranian-backed militias are doing this to us, and they are even coming to the hospitals to kill the wounded protesters. Abbas Naji, a 24, who previously worked in a hospital or hospitality in the southern city of Nasir, Syria, but for 4 years has not been able to find a job, told Fox News. We Iraqis are against the existence of militias because they are a danger to us, and they are determined to continue this movement because we need jobs and we need our service improved. Okay, and you have, of course, with Iraq, we know that they have a whole invasion by the United States government of Iraq. You know, and of course, you're going to, I believe you're going back into the previous leaders such as, just go and check real quick. One moment. This is a leader here, which is Saddam Hussein, and he was a former president of Iraq. All right, and of course they had a invasion. Okay, in 2003, a coalition led by the United States invaded Iraq to dispose Saddam, in which the U.S. President not Donald Trump, but George W. Bush and British Prime Minister Tony Blair erroneously accused him of possessing weapons of mass destruction. So you have, of course, that beast, NATO, all right, and of course U.S. and of course you have it. The beast consists, of course, NATO, the EU, okay, which United States is a member of NATO. And you have, of course, British, okay, which is the EU, a current EU state at this time. And I believe Britain is a part of, you go into it, I can check real quick. NATO countries. Okay, so you have, well, that's the founding ones, but I want to see what the current ones are. Yeah, present, you got the 29. Yeah, Britain and be as the United Kingdom is a part, of course, of NATO. All right, just so that you know. I just want to go and check that information. Now let's go back to that actual excerpt which I was reading. You had the United States government with Britain, of course, under false pretense, invade Iraq, which when you go into it, as it's going to read, it says that they accuse him, Saddam Hussein, which is former leader of Iraq, of possessing weapons of mass destruction. Right, which is you have here. Basically, you go into chemical weapons stockpile, biological, nuclear weapon program, etc., weapons of mass destruction, and having ties to Al Qaeda, which is a so-called terrorist group. And let's go on. It says Saddam. But that's basically it right there. Okay, just to bring out a little bit of information. Okay, and of course you had occupation of the United States government in that country. And let me see, that's what, back 2003 was that invasion began. Let me see, I could go and check that information real quick too. Let me check that. I can see if I can pull that up. U.S. occupation. Okay, yeah, I got this U.S. occupation in Iraq. I wanted to see if I can find something current, but I believe it's just to the present, but I can just go and check. And they have this on Wikipedia, got all this information. But they just had the U.S. led coalition sent about 177,000 troops into Iraq during the initial invasion phase, and it lasted from March of 19 to May 2003. I believe there's still troops that's stationed there, but I mean, I have to go and check in that information. So, of course, don't quote me on that right now. Like I want to say, let me see, 2003. But I'm gonna just do another lesson on that. I'll go and check, and I'll just go and check that information up again, because I don't want to, of course, give out any false information. But we know that, of course, Esau Edom, he doesn't, his desire is hell, and we know that, of course, he don't keep at home. Okay, he's in every country, in the world and such, pretty much, with different bases, military bases spread out throughout the world. Of course, he got hidden intelligence, he's gathering, and a lot of the different protests are actually pseudo protests and such, false in certain cases, where they actually are set up just to bring forth the new agenda of the, you would say, the NWO, also known as the New World Order, all right, which Esau Edom is pushing towards. So, going back to this whole protest, you have many of these protests that happen over the world. You have in Hong Kong, they got protests there, which this is an article published on September 19th, via Kragma. It says anti-government protests have rocked Hong Kong for months, and the situation has no signs of dying down. To bring you up to date, here's a background, what you need to know. Hong Kong protests start in June against proposals to allow extradition to mainland China. It says critics fear this could undermine the city's judicial independence and endanger dissidents. And a former British colony, Hong Kong, right, has some autonomy and more rights than the mainland under a one country, two system deal. So you have division within these different heathen nations and stuff, all right? And then you have, as this is going into, how did the protests escalate? Protesters feared the bill okay, which they have the extradition bill, which triggered the first protest, was introduced in April and allowed for criminal suspects to be extradited to mainland China under certain circumstances. So this is the whole issue about, one state. Okay, of course, when you deal with extraditing, let me see. I believe that's like when you hand over someone who's accused of a crime. So, of course, sending somebody accused of a crime to another, of course, place. Okay, say if you did a crime somewhere in another state, and then you're, of course, presently in another state. Say like you was in Atlanta, you did a crime in Pennsylvania. There's cases where, of course, the state would extradite you if they caught you up. They of course have the state will ask the other state if they can, send you to that other state so you can, of course, go through your various trial. Okay. So of course this has brought out different protests and such, as you can see here in Hong Kong. Okay. In mainland China, that's the whole issue, about this whole extradition process and such. Okay, it says by the then clashes between the police and the protester, it had become more frequent and more violent, with injuries on both sides and scores of people being arrested. It says bricks. Let me see, where does it say bricks? It says police had fired tear gas, rubber bullets, with some activists thrown bricks, firebombs, and other objects. In July, protesters stormed Parliament, defacing parts of it, so they're destroying the government. Also meaning the buildings. Also in July, mass mob armed with sticks, suspected to be triad gangsters, assaulted pro-democracy protesters and passed the Yuan Long station from the city center. What the protesters want? They want demand change for several weeks. This includes withdrawal from the riot description used about the protests, amnesty for all arrested protesters, an independent inquiry into alleged police brutality, universal suffrage for election. Okay, so you just see this a bunch of mourning, all right, from the people and such. Okay. So, it gives a little bit of information, on Hong Kong and such. It says it has its own judiciary and separate legal system from mainland China. Those rights include freedom of assembly and freedom of speech are protected. Alright, so you have that. Just wanted to cover that. Let me see what else we got. So I can close that window. Of course, you got various protests with the Great Britain with the Brexit. Britain leaving the EU. You have various. I believe there's a protest that happened in Edinburgh, Scotland, the other day. Let me see. Protests in Scotland. Right, and that, I believe, that they, of course, with that's the whole situation between the Brexit, which you have some, of course, one with Scotland, they, of course, voted to remain within the EU, but you have it where they had the referendum where, as a whole, you go into it, United Kingdom voted to leave the EU. But of course you have many that know that Britain is going to suffer economically when they leave that whole partnership of being within the EU, which you had, of course, that being an extension. That's basically the Roman Empire coming back. Okay, so it says here, Let me see what I have. I have a different one. Scottish. This is this one right here. It has thousands march in support of Scottish independence. Basically going for an indie referendum and such. Says 1,000 people marched through Edinburgh in support of Scottish independence. There was a carnival atmosphere as they waved flags and banners from Holyrood Park to rally in the Meadows. Okay, it says Joanna Sherry of the SNP, that's the Scottish National Party, MP, who led the legal fight against Boris Johnson's decision to suspend Parliament. This goes into how the current Prime Minister who succeeded Theresa May, because Theresa May quit because she brought forth a Brexit deal and didn't get it passed through Parliament. You have, of course, Esau being a house divided, and many want to remain and others want to stay. There's a bunch of confusion when you get into this whole Brexit bloody shambles which is going on. It says early Nicola Sturgeon. I believe she's the First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon of Scotland. I believe that's her title. Let me see. Scottish politician, First Minister of Scotland, right? Leader of the SNP, Scottish National Party, right? And she's a woman. Said to say she would march in spirit but not in person. Be in doubt, no doubt, independence is coming. All right, so you have that. If they want to, of course, leave and exit the become independent outside, of course, the great you have it, the United Kingdom. Okay, that as the elder, of course, said as well. That's another fulfillment of the Daniel's prophecy. Of course, you have it where this EU, okay, breaking up, okay. Which I do a lot of the different lessons on, but we're just gonna keep it simple for this one right now. Okay, just you have, as it's saying, it says you had for this one. It's claimed as over 200,000 people took part in the event, so that's a lot of people there, in Edinburgh. Okay. And you see it, some of them got the old rampant lion flag, and you got the current flag with the cross on there. So you have people then they bothered about the whole Brexit debate and such, but like it's speaking about this particular chick. She's saying that she has backed the Scottish independence since she was a child. And you have the 34-year-old from Edinburgh say, "I'm here to support the cause for independence. To be honest, after the last referendum, I was a bit deflated and disenfranchised, and I was not going to be taking part anymore." So you have a lot of people just like they losing faith in their shite government. And just however, she said in a recent trip to the west coast of Scotland re-inspired her, and she decided to join Saturday's march. She continued, and that's just these people with their nationalism and such, Scots and such. Yeah, it says she continued, "I've not really been really caught up in the whole Brexit debate. I'm not bothered about it or about that." It says, "But I am for another independence ref, indie ref, as soon as possible. It should have been ages ago." And that's what she said. I'm trying to say a little wee bit in the Scottish tongue. It says, "The heat of her speech at the rally, Joanna Cherry, the MP, described the event as the party as from a grassroots supporters of an independence movement. As she told BBC Scotland, I'm there respecting anyone's minds to be changed on the Independence Today. It says that's done by conversations on the doorsteps. But this is one opportunity for a yes movement to all together in celebration. And despite the rain, I think there has been a fantastic turnout. It says earlier this year, Nicola Sturgeon said she would demand Holyrood was given the power to hold a second referendum on independence. The SNP is expected to put its opposition to Brexit and its desire for another poll at the center of its manifesto in the event of a snap election. Now, they have different ways they want to get Boris Johnson out. You have, of course, he's a leader of the Conservative Party at the time, and you have it. He believes, he says we're going to leave, or mean that the Great Britain is going to leave the EU on the 31st of October this year. But then you have it where this whole issue where they pass certain bills and such, which will restrict that. Okay. And you have it where he's saying we just keep claiming we're gonna leave regardless. So you have a lot of different, as what it says, total discord between, different political parties within, the actual House of Parliament and such. When you have people, of course, quit, and when you go into it as a whole with this whole Brexit debates and such, a lot of people quit. A lot of people, of course, form different new parties too, from resigning from previous parties and such. And it's just a bloody shambles, when you go into it. It says, but Boris Johnson outlined his opposition to the plan of the Conservative Party conference, claiming more referendums would cause a total national discord. So different elections and such. All right. And basically you got like the labor leader Jeremy Corbyn. He don't want to, like, he have at times he don't want an election, then he wants an election. And he definitely wants to stay. So you got like Scotland. they're trying to team up the different Scottish MPs with the Scottish National Party. They want to basically try to make a plan to vote to try to get Jeremy Corbyn in, or some election if they could have it, to get Jeremy Corbyn in, just so that they can maybe have a shot at getting a pass for another ND ref or something like that. But I mean, this is a whole nother thing. So as you see, total national discord. Okay, so that's two articles. You can I brought out about different protests, and there's many other protests that's going on in the war world and such. So we're just gonna get to the scriptures, okay, and go from there. We're gonna go in the book of the Apocrypha, which is part of the original King James 1611 Bible. We're gonna go to the 13th chapter, or actually, see, 14th chapter possibly. Let me see where I'm gonna start. 13. And I'll start at let me see, I may start around 23. Let me see what's up. Alright, this is a second Ezra chapter 13 and 23. It says here, he that shall endure the peril in that time hath kept himself. They that be fallen into danger are such as have works and faith towards the Almighty. Now this therefore, that they which be left behind are more blessed than they that be dead, because we will be, Lord willing, ones that see and be living in the times that many prophets wanted to see the day that we're in, the end of the age. Okay, though of course you have the dead that died in this truth will come back, and be in the chariots, when Yahweh Shai comes back. Let me see if I can find a precept. I'm not sure if it's this scripture. 2 Peter 13 and 12. Let me see. King James. Nah, that's not a precept I want. It's a precept though about speaking about it. I don't have it on the top right now, or the news. So Lord willing, I'll get it some other time and bring it out. But it's another thing that's written in the scriptures, a word that's written in the scriptures. Alright, so it says, and I'm just going to continue on. It says, this is the meaning of it. Alright, so let me go down now. I'm going to go down to verse 29. It says, behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth. That's, of course, the Most High sending Yahweh Shai back to deliver the election of the nation of Israel out of this captivity which we're in, to restore the kingdom unto Israel. Alright, it says, and he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. The Lord is going to come as a thief in the night, as is written. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. Which realm goes into, when you look it up in the etymology online, you have it goes into kingdom. Okay, and you have kingdom right there for realm, right? Old French realm, probably from realm, kingdom, altered by influence of Latin regalis, which means regal, a system of government, a rule. Okay, and you're going to have as well, you're going to have different you're going to have spirits and apparitions. Okay, it's going to be let loose here in this time, what we're going to be what we're closely approaching, which is the time of Jacob trouble, and all the 12 tribes of Israel are going to see a time in which they never seen before and never been since the earth has been. I must note that other nations are obviously going to be a part of this too, but it's all about, of course, Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Americans, and the Israelite foreigners, those that have been scattered through, dispersed through the various nations. That lineage still go back by the way of fathers to Israelites. Okay, and you, of course, can determine who the Israelites do the Spirit. Okay, so going back, the scriptures speak of these various protests, okay, occurring, okay, where you have different civil unrest, people against one people, okay, one realm against another, Okay, one city against another, one kingdoms against another. And even Ur, which is Yahweh Shai, he spoke of these things. Okay, in which the things were written aforetime, were written for our learning. So we're reading of these things, being forewarned, so that we know and measure the time that we're in, so that it doesn't, of course, catch up or catch us as a thief in the night. Okay, we gotta be, of course, in the light, and of course not in the darkness, being in ignorance. Or you have to be in the light, having this wisdom, knowledge, understanding. All right, so we're gonna go to the book of, just to make, I'm gonna just keep this pretty just clear to the point. I don't want to hold it up too much. This is also Isaiah chapter 13. And it speaks here, Isaiah 13 and 14. It said, and it shall be as a chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up, they shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. And these protests of these various nationalism, and of course people, they having, of course, faith in their government, they're gonna go back to their natural state, which is back to being tribalism and such. Okay, where people stick with their own and such, right? And they'll be like what you have it today, where many people are so-called in unity and such. All right, that's going to be a thing of naught. Okay. So turn, you have panah in Hebrew, which is to turn toward. Okay, or from or away. Okay, people are going to turn towards their own, and they're going to basically turn away from those that are not their own, not of their specific nation or nationality, their lineage and such. All right. Let's go to the book of Matthew 24. See what Yahweh Shai said, which is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. His true name is Yahweh Shai in Hebrew. Yahweh, of course, is the Most High name. It, of course, is the father of Yahweh Shai. Okay. So it says here in Matthew 24, in which, of course, the various disciples asked about when would be the sign of thy coming at the end of the world, meaning the end of an age, signs of the coming. So Yahweh Shai actually gave us various signs and what we should know of his time and when he's coming back, his second coming, to deliver the elect of the nation of Israel. Okay, and bring destruction and Moath, or death, to all of his enemies. Enemies, of course, of the own nation which reject him, the two-thirds, and of course the rest of the actual heathen nations outside of the covenants. Alright, so it says here, which that chiefly is Esau, Edom, and then the rest of the heathen nations. Okay, so it says here, Matthew 24 and 4, it says, and Yahweh Shai answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am anointed, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. It says, see ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Okay, and we see all of these different various things occurring. It says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Okay, scriptures tell you of the various uproars of the people. Okay, let's see if it's uproar. definitely spelled that wrong. It's like it. Uproar. Give me a wee moment. Okay, let me see if I can. Let me see. I can't find what I'm actually looking for. If it is, but yeah, of course I brought out precepts already. Lord willing, like I said, these different precepts, you always got to go over these more and more, so that memory can stick, in your head. So slock it, of course. But I'm gonna continue on and basically finish it off. I mean, I could probably, do the spirit, just go to Google, Uproar. Okay, yeah, that's it. The body y'all about to myself some cocoa. That's just second address chapter 9. Alright. We'll go get that I thought right now. Now. Let's see. Second address chapter 9 and 1. It says here, it says, and he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. You know that Yahweh Shai made everything through the sanctions of the Most High Yahweh. Okay. So it says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Okay. And these things are speaking, the prophecies are speaking, as in Habakkuk speaks of in that book. They're not tarrying. So we know that we're in the times of the second coming of our Lord Yahweh Shai. Right? Is that Adawan Nawa Yahweh Shai? Okay. That's our Lord in Hebrew, Yahweh Shai. So I'm gonna go back to that address I was in. I believe it was the 13th chapter, and probably called me and finish it off. And it says here again, it says, and the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and signs shall happen, which I showed thee before, and then shall my son be declared. And when thou sawest as a man ascending. Alright? It says, and when all people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle, and they have one against another. Alright, and that's basically it what I'm bringing out in this particular lesson. And we gotta measure the time diligently yourself and understand that Yahushua is on his way. We have to be well prepared, of course, preparing ourselves before the day of judgment. Okay, so that we can be counted worthy in the sight of Yahushua. Okay. So with that, I'm just gonna close out. Giving all praises to Yahweh Shem Rashai, B'Shem Kodesh, and the belongs to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone. Well, peace and salutation, of course, always to the election. Shalom.